Dear students, this is lecture 16 in supply chain management. First, let us discuss the questions of the last lecture. The first question is allocating too much capacity to your location results in dash and as a result higher cost. The answer is poor utilization because when you assign too much capacity to your location but the demand is less compared to the capacity, that means we are not utilizing the facility to the fullest extent. So it results in higher cost. Hence, the answer is poor utilization. The second question, macroeconomic factors play a critical role in supply chain due to dash trade. Macroeconomic factors predominantly affects the supply chain only in case of particularly international trade or global trade. So the answer is international or global. Third question, if facilities need dash cost to establish, then many local facilities are preferred. So the answer is lower cost. If you need a very lower cost to establish the facilities, you can go on establishing local facilities so that the transportation cost will be very less. In continuation to the topic of last lecture, that is factors influencing network design decision. Last class we have discussed strategic factors, technological factors, and macroeconomic factors. To continue that macroeconomic factors, the next point is exchange rate and the demand risk. Fluctuation in exchange rates are common and have a significant impact on the profits of any supply chain serving global markets. So when our supply chain is serving for global markets, that is when you do business on import or export, certainly the business has to be done in terms of foreign currencies, maybe in terms of dollars or euro or any other countries, for example yen in Japan. So like that, when you do business globally, then we should consider the exchange rate before taking any decision on supply chain system. The exchange rates are dynamic, that is, the exchange rates are changing every day, and these changes will have impact on the profits of the supply chain system. Next, freight and fuel cost. Fluctuations in freight and fuel cost also have a significant impact on the profits of any global supply chain. What do you mean by freight? Freight is nothing but cargo charges. For example, if you want to take the products from one country to another country through flight or ship, then freight charges will have to be considered in supply chain system. When we deal with movement of goods or raw materials in global trade through flight or ship, certainly the fuel cost will also have a role to play. So any changes or fluctuations in the fuel or freight charges will affect the profits of any global supply chain system. Next point is political factors. The political stability of the country under consideration play a significant role in location choice. Companies prefer to locate facilities in politically stable countries where the rules of commerce and ownership are well defined. That is, any business or any manufacturing company will prefer to have their facilities in the countries where they find it is politically stable. Then only the rules laid by the government in case of commerce or ownership will not be changed frequently, and the policy of the government will be consistent at least for a certain span of time, maybe for 5 years. The political stability in a country will allow the companies to establish better and win-win relationship with the government so that the companies can run the business smoothly and also look for expansion and improvement in future. Next one is infrastructure factors. The availability of good infrastructure is an important prerequisite to locating a facility in a given area. Poor infrastructure adds to the cost of doing business from a given location. So, when a company wants to establish the facility in a particular location, the company will analyze whether the infrastructure requirements needed for that company is available or not. The infrastructure may be in terms of electric power, roads, or any other transport system like railways, airport, or harbors, or medical facilities. Like that, the company will look for many infrastructure facilities so that the company can run the business without any difficulty. If the infrastructure facilities are not available up to the requirement of the company, then the cost of doing business in that location will be very high. So the company will look for another place in some other location. Based on these infrastructure factors, political stability, and economic factors, and government policy, the states are being ranked on ease of doing business. For the year 2019, Andhra Pradesh tops ease of doing business ranking of states and union territories in India. Similarly, internationally, countries also ranked based on these factors for ease of doing business in a particular country. Next is competitive factors. Companies must consider competitor strategy, size, and location when designing their supply chain networks. A fundamental decision firms make is whether to locate the facilities close to or far from competitors. Generally, the companies will not prefer to have their facilities very close to the competitors' facilities. Companies should consider competitors' strategy and size and location of the supply chain networks. For example, Maruti Car Company is having the major market share in automobile car sales, particularly because of their supply chain network system. Maruti Car Company has established their production facilities in big size and also in two or three places. The company is able to deliver the product in a very short response time. Moreover, they have covered the entire country in terms of its showrooms and service centers in all the cities all over the country. These aspects of supply chain network of the Maruti company made the company to have major share in the car sales market. when we compare with its competitors. Next factor is customer response time and local presence. Firms or companies that target customers or the companies would like to want to attract the customers who value a short response time. That is, the customers who give highest priority to the response time. Then the companies must locate their facilities very close to the customers, because customers generally they don't like to travel for a long distance to reach the store and to purchase the products what they want. So it is best for a supply chain system to establish many stores distributed in an area so that people conveniently reach the store which is very close to them and purchase the products. The next factor is logistics and facility cost. Logistics and facility costs in a supply chain management changes as the number of facilities, the location, and capacity allocation changes. Companies must consider inventory, transportation, and facility cost when designing their supply chain networks. That is, when you increase the number of facilities, certainly it will cause a change in the logistics and facility cost. So, whenever you make a change in supply chain networks, we should evaluate the various costs associated with the changes in terms of inventory, transportation, and facility cost. Next, we are going to discuss framework for network design decisions. Phase 1, define a supply chain strategy design. So the objective of the first phase of network design is to define firm's broad supply chain design. So we have to broadly consider the supply chain design and its various stages. So we should include the various stages in the supply chain, and also we should be able to take a decision whether that particular supply chain function is going to be performed in-house or outsourced. We already discussed what you mean by outsourcing. That means giving the particular job to the third party. And in-house means the supply chain function will be performed by the company itself. Phase 1 starts with a clear definition of the firm's competitive strategy as the set of customer needs that the supply chain aims to satisfy. So, the phase 1 begins with the definition of competitive strategy. That means, in terms of customer needs and how the company is going to satisfy through its supply chain network when compared to its competitors. The next step is to support this competitive strategy or to implement this competitive strategy. The supply chain strategy specifies what capabilities are required for this supply chain network in terms of inventory, transportation, and facilities. Next, managers must forecast the evolution of global competition and whether competitors in each market will be local or global players. So, for a particular supply chain network, the managers must evaluate the status of competitors in each market and also to predict the evolution of global competition in the particular field. Managers must also identify constraints on available capital and whether growth will be accomplished by acquiring existing facilities building new facilities, or partnering. So, managers to identify the constraints on capital, that is, investment, and to see whether growth can be obtained by acquiring the existing facilities or whether to build new facilities or going for partnership. For example, recently the mobile service providers Vodafone and Idea merged together to form a new company with the name they call it as VI. They pronounce it as V. After the merger of these two companies, it became the largest telecom company in India by number of subscribers and by revenue. By this way, company can achieve growth in terms of facilities, capital and revenue. Next, phase 2 define the regional facility configuration. Based on the output of phase 1, the objective of the second phase of network design is to identify regions where facilities will be located, potential roles, and their approximate capacity. So, what is a phase 2? That is to identify various regions to locate the facilities of supply chain network system. An analysis of phase 2 starts with a forecast of the demand by country or region. When we want to decide the region to locate the facility, we should forecast the demand in that particular region. Such a forecast must include the size of the demand and determination of homogeneity or variability of customer requirements across different regions. That means size of the demand may be in terms of number. And what do you mean by homogeneity? That is the products of same characteristics or same nature. Or variability of customer requirements means products of different characteristics or different nature. So this has to be analyzed in terms of demand in that particular region. Homogeneous requirements means we can go for large consolidated facilities because all the products are of same nature. If the requirements vary across the regions or countries, then we should go for smaller localized facilities so that to accommodate the changes required in the products in the particular region. For example, if you buy Lay's chips in India, they give the product Lay's chips in tomato flavor or chili flavor like that. But if you buy the same product Lay's chips in China, the product is available in chicken flavor or mutton flavor because Chinese prefer non-veg food whereas Indians prefer veg food. This is the example for what happens between the countries in terms of product features. Like that, the same difference may take place in terms of product features even within the country also. For example, products for South India and products for North India, etc. Here, the facility specifically means production or storage in terms of warehouses, inventory, etc. Phase 3 select a set of desirable potential sites. In phase 2, we have selected various regions to locate the facilities. So, what is the objective of phase 3? We have to select potential sites in each region where the facilities are to be located. So now we are looking for the particular sites where actually the facility is going to be located in the particular region. So how do you select the site? It is based on the analysis of infrastructure availability to support our desired production methodologies. So based on our production methodology, we should see that the availability of infrastructure facilities in the particular site. So there are two kinds of infrastructure requirements. One is hard infrastructure requirements, which deals with the availability of suppliers, transportation services, communication, utilities, and warehousing facilities. The another one is soft infrastructure requirements, which deals with the availability of skilled workforce, workforce turnover, and the community receptivity to business and industry. Because sometimes the community in that area may oppose for the new facility to be created in that particular site. In that case, the company should be able to convince the community in terms of the advantages to be available after creating the new facility in that particular area. The last phase, phase 4, location choices. The objective of phase 4 is to select a precise location and capacity allocation for each facility. Because in phase 3, we identified various sites to locate the facility. In phase 4, we select the precise location and we allocate the capacity for that facility. Here, we should restrict to, or we should consider only the potential sites selected in phase 3. The network is designed to maximize total profits because that is the ultimate aim of the supply chain network system, to maximize the profit, taking into account the expected margin and demand in each market and various logistics and facility cost, and of course the taxes and tariffs at each location, because the taxes and tariffs may vary depends on the location. So we should consider all these cost factors to decide the profits in the particular facility. Students, answer for these questions.